Should children be banned from restaurants? Personally, I think so. And also, is Coachella turning into a food festival? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Menu Podcast. This is a podcast about food news, more specifically, food that is newsworthy and news that is foodworthy. My name is Dave Huff. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, TheJoshElkin. And today, for the first time ever, we've got ourselves a guest host, ladies and gentlemen, from Foodbeast, our good friend Elie. Elie, say hello to the internet, please.
Hi, you guys caught a wild food beast. Congratulations.
We did catch a wild food beast. What's the reward for that?
A really subpar podcast.
I was gonna say we get to keep him. He's ours now. He's ours forever.
Oh,
we take you with us everywhere we go now. This is a really cool podcast because not only is it now international, but it's like now fully in 3 different locations, and that's cool because the internet lets us do that. The future lets us do that. So I guess the future's now. We did it, guys.
Thanks, future. Thanks, internet. Which, by the way, before we get started with these amazing topics,
hit us.
Do you think the internet messed up by calling it the World Wide Web? Because no one calls it the World Wide Web anymore.
Well, they tried. They tried to get the branding going behind World Wide Web, and they just seemed to drop that www pretty quickly. Yeah. We've talked about it on this podcast many times, Josh. People like being lazy. They like to facilitate doing fewer things. So the moment they were given the opportunity to not type the HTTP or the www,
they're like, nah.
They got rid of them both. They got rid of them both.
Just foodbeast.com.
Foodbeast.com, straight out.
Okay, let's this is a very good list of topics today, guys. I'm very, very excited about it.
Josh, take us into the first one, bro.
Okay. The first topic on the docket of foodworthy news and newsworthy food is soda tax. Taxing soda.
Explain, please.
So it's a really interesting topic of conversation. It's geared towards not only helping people in need, but also making the world a better place and healthier place for all of us. It says here on this article that I found on foodandwine.com that soda taxes are gaining traction across the country, mostly the U.S. for now, and it's basically taking a penny per ounce on any beverage that adds caloric sweeteners, so artificial sweeteners like stevia. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Stevia.
Yeah. Whichever. And it's really interesting because it says here that the revenue would go fund educational programs for children like Care for Kids, which provides childcare for low-income families. So not only are it's not like a tax to gain more money in the pockets of politicians or anything like that. It's more to gain money to put towards people who might not have the means that other people have.
I like the thought.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they want to they've done it before, and we had mentioned this before that it's kind of like cigarettes, right? The tax on cigarettes. It seems that it's more in the interest of people really like to be unhealthy. It's one of our favorite things. No matter how many times people are told, don't do this because it's bad for you, they're like, oh yeah? Let me show you. I'm going to do this a lot, like more than I should. And I feel like they need things like a soda tax, or I see one of our friends mentioning that there's now sugar taxes that are being implemented, or at least proposed. It's because people they need that little bit of encouragement to convince them not to be terrible.
Yeah, and in this sense, it's really all about the kids, right? It's all about the kids.
I hope it comes with some sort of literacy or some sort of education on just Pepsi's a little bit more expensive. I hope it comes with, that's the whole point, right? Is I think cigarettes, it took so many years to convey that it was shitty and bad for you, and then even over time, it still didn't matter to certain people that it was bad for you. They would still consume cigarettes. It got a little bit more expensive. They're like, oh, fuck it, I still need a cigarette.
I'll do it. I'm doing it anyways.
I'm going to do it. And I think the same thing's going to happen with sugar, but if I think what the new generation has at their advantage is hopefully they're getting more knowledge about it. Hopefully they're getting more, this is actually what happens with this kind of sugar versus this kind of sugar, and diabetes is a real thing. heart disease is a real thing, as opposed to just making Sunkist more expensive. I hope that there's a level of literacy that comes along with it for those kids. Because I think that's the one thing that we do have at our advantage nowadays is, while we make fun of kids being dumber and having more knowledge.
Lamborghinis, you need the knowledge instead.
Yeah.
And I think Eli just froze at like the perfect moment right there.
For a water.
There he is. No, I agree with you, Eli, on what you're saying there. Like, on one hand, we think of kids now being super distracted, always being in front of a screen, on their phone, whatever it may be. But at the same time, maybe they're becoming a little more educated, and programs like this, like the soda tax, is helping that. Because like I was saying before, not only is it going to charities like Care for Kids, but it's also like this was implemented in Philly, and by doing this tax, they're implementing, it says here, over 2,000 pre-kindergarten spots for low-income families. Now, Dave's about to have twins. Shout out to Dave having twins. And I know this from my brother has a newborn, and my sister, I have a little nephew, and it's really hard to get your kids into daycares and into pre-K like programs. And it's not because it's just hard to get them into it. It's hard because there's not enough of them. So that's another thing that, for example, Philly is putting into effect. That's pretty cool also. Just off of a tax off sugar, you know? Yeah,
I think it's really smart.
Yeah.
I think that the learning curve for human beings is entirely too steep for just everything with their lives. Even though we have the access to information, we tend to turn away from those facts because it tends to be easier. And so sometimes you have to hit them where it counts. And in this case, it's in their pockets. Because people love their pockets so much. So if you could take away their pockets...
They also love soda.
Maybe.
So
they love
Just
Sunkist. They love it. Grape juice. Where do you draw the line? What was it, Josh? I think you mentioned where they drew the line in terms of what drinks are considered a soda versus what's not.
Let me just look. I looked through this.
Is a soda? I feel like is just anything with like carbonation to it. But you probably shouldn't just include that. Somebody else was saying in this article that like they should probably start to look at it for things like fruit juice or whole milk. Those can be kind of bad for you too.
Yeah, I actually just recently read up on like low-fat dairy, for example, like a low-fat half and half for your coffee. There's so much sugar in that.
Oh,
just to make it low-fat.
I would pick any orange juice at random in a supermarket, and I guarantee you'll have equivalent sugar to the soda that we're banning there. And the idea is that like there's an intrinsic idea that there's a little bit of vitamin in your serving of orange juice, but I guarantee you it's negligible to the offset of the sugar that's being put in there.
Yeah.
So that's just literacy of understanding why it's okay to ban and add taxes to it, but let's understand why, so they can also be like, maybe turn that orange juice label around and look at that too, and maybe go to the next thing. And actually, if we're getting people to look at labels, I think that's at least we're already there. People are looking at labels now, but I think that's the next key step is just understanding what we're putting into our bodies.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a great point. People need to be way more conscious and need to actually care about themselves that much more, because that other thing that you don't like, I've heard it mentioned before, but you don't ever really dive into it, is the effect of the unhealthy person on society. It's not just like that they're harming themselves. It ends up translating into, I mean, more so in Canada with our healthcare system. Sorry, I don't want to brag or anything, but that's a thing that taxpayers are paying for. That's the thing that taxpayers are paying for. That's the thing that's going to drive up insurance costs in the States. People don't even think about that.
Sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, serious.
Soda tax.
Things got so much more real. It's not just about not drinking soda anymore. There's so many more real aspects to it. Well, so all right, so we agree then. Soda tax it is.
I feel good. I feel good about it. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. I like it. Okay, well that takes us to something that's totally unrelated, but equally alien. Fruit-flavored cheese.
Oh, fuck that.
You're so passionate. You're so passionate and against this fruit flavored cheese concept. Oh my god.
Fuck
But
it back to whatever.
I think I
test kitchen
am
it came
too.
from.
So let's start with the basics here, guys. What are your thoughts on cheese?
I love cheese. Is that what?
Love it. Cheese, fantastic. Fruit, also
Awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
Also fantastic. Fruit flavored cheese could probably burn in the fiery pits of hell, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and we were chopping this up before. Like, so basically what this is, it's a fruit infused cheese stick. Like one of those cheese string. It looks like one of those cheese string sticks that are fruit flavors, not to be confused with like a slab of goat cheese that has blueberries mixed in, or even like a brie, like a baked brie with apples on top of it. That's not what we're talking about, because that has different textures and are separated, and you could definitely differentiate that in your mouth. This is like fruit punch cheese.
It's another stick of sugar. I mean, look at did we even talk about what the item actually is? It's, imagine just string cheese in a package, and they're themed to different kids' cartoons. Like the one I'm looking at is a Prime Punch from like the Optimus Prime from Transformers, and it's a fruit punch flavored string of cheese. Like this, it's not. They're so far off from fruit. Fruit punch isn't a flavor.
It's the furthest thing from fruit. It's the least fruit.
No, it's not. It's fruit adjacent flavors. Like it's not. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. And
fruit punch is like if you take like all the popsicle flavors and melt them and just put it in a a container and just drink that. That's fruit punch. There's nothing to do with fruits.
I mean, to their benefit, the article I'm reading here says that each serving looks like it only contains 1 to 2 grams of sugar, and it. Only. So that's not bad. It's a lot less than I thought it'd be, and it says they're using stevia, cane sugar, and honey, which I would hope those are all pretty natural, wholesome ingredients.
Not that processed.
Sure. But still, fuck it to oblivion. Can we cuss on this podcast, or is that too late?
Yeah, you're good.
I love swearing. It's my favorite thing.
I mean, I might get flagged by the new YouTube situation, but whatever. I'm looking to get that.
We deserve it. You get good exposure when you get one flag. At least one.
Here, beyond all that, I mean, we haven't even taken in the fact that it's called cow candy, which, in my mind, is not flavored cheese. Cow candy.
It's cheese flavored candy.
Exactly. Totally different thing.
I just hate that they're taking something. They're taking something that I love so much, which is cheese. Like, if you just really just take out the flavor or what you eat cheese with, Josh, for yourself, and Eli, for you too, like the cheese pull is such an important part of your businesses. How dare they? How dare they try and tamper with that? And they're not even giving love to all the other cheeses. They're only doing it with Monterey Jack. Is Monterey Jack such a hopeless cheese that it needs that much assistance?
There's a reason they're only using Monterey Jack. Monterey Jack's not even really a cheese, Like, what is Monterey Jack?
Will this melt, Josh? I think this actually could help you, because you're like famous now for your throwing this like multicolored cheese into a grilled cheese sandwich and doing a dope pull. They have the cheese already pre-colored for you.
Listen, cool. Don't pretend like I haven't been running this through my stupid brain and thinking of really interesting ways to use it. Like, remember that time I made the pesto stuffed cheese stick?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Imagine that with this.
Boom, bread these things, and now you have different colored mozzarella sticks. Amazing.
And
I'm
how
slowly turning the
clickbaity,
tide.
but how clickbaity is Optimus Prime grilled cheese?
Oh.
Especially with
all you need is these cheese strings in between 2 pieces of bread. That's so good. That'll get all the views. You're welcome. You guys can enjoy that one.
I think My Little Pony is on. They did a good job of really going after the kids on this one. I mean, it's just a bunch of different.
Absolutely.
So My Little Pony.
Children walking through a grocery store are going to trip and be like, "I want that, Mom." No, Mom, I want that.
I just can't picture, or like I can't fathom the flavor profile of Monterey Jack cheese with fruit punch, because Monterey Jack cheese is like, it's kind of like a Colby Jack, where it's just basically mozzarella and cheddar combined, But it's I think Monterey Jack is a little bit more like flavorful than a mozzarella, which doesn't really have that much flavor. So that mixed with fruit punch is messing my mind up a bit.
Yeah, any of them. The honey, the what's the other? They have orange, strawberry. Like none of these flavors need cheese, or vice versa.
No,
So
grape cheese. What?
It's stupid.
The founder of Cow Candy says, while the playful colors and flavor combinations may be surprising to adult palates, we've seen firsthand how quickly even the pickiest little eaters will gobble this sweet, savory snack.
Yeah, of course. It's marketing and packaging. They're killing it.
It's so I wish they had done something other than Jack, introduce kids to a new kind of cheese. If you're going to put it in a stick form that they're already familiar with, the kids love stick flavored things, like stick shaped things, you know what I mean? We learned that in
a stick
Superbad.
And kids will buy it.
Yeah, no, seriously, Pocky and string cheese and churros,
all the best foods are shaped like sticks and dicks. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to quote that.
Everything is phallic.
When anybody asks me, so what do you think of the state of the food world these days? Well, actually, as a matter of fact, everybody knows that the best foods are shaped like sticks and dicks. So
yeah, we're in a good place. That's going to be the whole, there's going to be a show on Food Network that Josh is going to host soon.
Sticks and Dicks? Sticks and Dicks.
It's called Sticks and Dicks.
Too soon.
All right, well, forget this cheese. I never want to see it ever again in my life.
I'm not going to lie. If I ever see it, I'm buying it and trying it. I can guarantee you that.
You would. You're
of course you are. But you'll try anything. You're actually, I'll give you credit for that. You really put yourself out there, Josh, and you try a lot of crazy things that I would never try.
I mean, come on.
But did you order a hot dog from Costco yet? That's what I really want to know.
Not yet. I haven't, actually.
Are you kidding me? That must be too basic.
No. Delivery. Are you kidding me? The Costco hot dog is the best hot dog on the planet. It really is.
But not just that. It's the value. The $1.50. We've talked about it on like 7 different podcasts. But more importantly, we had talked about on this podcast a few episodes ago how Costco is doing delivery. And I was saying Josh just needs to go to random events and just be like, nah, the food here sucks. I'm getting my own hot dog.
And have Costco come bring me a hot dog.
It's the Costco Invader show.
Awesome.
So up next is a little thing called a hashtag NUGGSFORCARTER, and this is about Wendy's.
Again, Wendy's has been making mad waves in social media, which, as we all can agree, is super smart.
But do they get to take credit for this one?
I think so. Because no one's being like what's this guy's name even? I don't even know. But no one's being
Carter.
like.
Carter.
Yeah, no.
It's the hashtag NUGGSFORCARTER.
Yeah, but no one's being like, yo, Carter's so sick. He got this many retweets. They're being like, no, Wendy's is so sick because this is what's happening. And this is the kid's name.
So let's explain what happened here. 18-year-old? Is he an 18-year-old? Does it even matter how old this kid is?
16-year-old from Reno, Nevada.
From Reno, Nevada. He tweets at Wendy's saying, hey, Wendy's, how many retweets for a year of free chicken nuggets? And Wendy's... The balls on Wendy's to reply 18 million retweets. So Carter says to himself, challenge accepted, Wendy's. Actually, he even went one step further and said, consider it done.
This guy,
balls
let's
on
go,
these people.
Carter. Let's go. He took the challenge in open arms. I love it.
And now he's at almost 3 million retweets because people are like, yeah, I want this kid to win.
I got to be honest. I didn't know this story was about a completely healthy child named Carter. When I saw it trending, I was like, "Oh no, Carter's gonna fall ill of leukemia or something," and we're really rallying him into the finish line because he loves.
Oh my God, no, no, he's fine. He's fine. He's just
good.
a kid that
Okay,
was like, you know
good.
what? I'd really like chicken nuggets, and my mom won't buy them for me enough, so I got to go out and get them myself.
This is an enterprising kid. I'm so glad this is happening to him, and I hope he becomes a trillionaire. I don't hope that, but
hang on. I was going to say that's a huge leap from a year's supply of chicken nuggets to a trillionaire.
He does deserve a year's worth of chicken nugs. The trillionaire thing's a little too much. There's a lot of serendipity here. This kid reminds me of the kind of kid that it talks to one of you two who have had some sort of have had a level of success in what you do. It's like, yo, put me on, son. Yo, let's slide into my DM. Let's build. This
I'm
is
ready
what
to
this
blow
kid
this
is
up.
doing. But he did it to Wendy's, and Wendy's actually why you got to give Wendy's credit is they went out and said, you know what? Go ahead, let's build. You got to hit 18 million retweets first.
Let's see it.
Which is really
Let's
crazy,
see it.
by the way.
And that's, I think, the most.
It's more. It's nope. Sorry.
No, you first, Josh. I swear. You first.
It's 6 times the retweets of the most retweeted thing, which was 3.3 million retweets from Ellen DeGeneres. Now,
yeah, you remember that Oscar photo? That was a crazy picture.
Yeah.
This kid may get more retweets just by asking Wendy's for a year of free chicken nuggets. That's more popular than all of those celebrities from the Oscars in that selfie picture. That's wild.
Right?
This is amazing. Yeah.
So somebody had crunched the numbers on like what that is, what the value is. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but they overvalued a retweet by like a couple of 100%. And just the gall, Wendy's being like, yeah, all right, this is how valuable we are. And this is how valuable our chicken nuggets are. To overshoot. Like, that's a lot of retweets. I feel like they could have just, what's Wendy's best tweet? All their retweets. Even when things were popping off, Josh, when we were talking about that guy that tweeted about their patties not being fresh, and they were like, nah, they are.
That was the one.
That got, you know, what, like 600,000-700,000 retweets at the time. I don't know what they're at now, but I imagine they're pretty. I imagine they got to be pretty close.
Here's the thing with this: there's no time limit. Number one, so this guy can like keep going until he hits 18 million.
It could be forever
at this
now.
moment, right now, exactly a week after he tweeted it, it's at 2.7 million retweets.
That's insane! Yeah. Holy cow! God bless him. This is nice. This is a hero, an underdog story.
Yeah,
of someone who's going to get his nugs.
My point is, I just feel that Wendy's was maybe a little greedy by saying 18 million. I feel like, come on, give the kid a break. Set the bar high. Even surpass the most popular tweet of all time, this Oscar picture, 3.3. Go say 4 million retweets. Okay, but make it somewhat attainable. What does it cost them a year's worth of chicken nuggets? A couple $1,000 bucks?
Them?
Yeah, a couple thousand.
It's costing them. I mean, that's the question: is what is a year supply? Is it one order a day? Is it unlimited orders?
Let's say it's one order a day.
So it's $1 for 6 nuggets.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, their cost, right? Their cost, or is that actually on the dollar value menu? So what? It's like 40 cents, 40 to 50 cents.
The thing is, though, a realistic retweet number or realistic retweet response from Wendy's wouldn't have been savage enough for him. I think the idea of presenting, if you hit 1 million retweets, we got you. I think 1 million retweets would have still had the same pizzazz once you get into a 7-digit retweet. The problem is I don't think there are 18 million active users on Twitter anymore. I don't think you can hit that number.
Shots fired.
Which is
But no, that's a great point.
I'm just hating.
I think that's a great point. I don't think it would have gotten as much attention if it wasn't an over-the-top number. You're right.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. The interesting thing here is, and you guys know this, usually the likes to retweets are more on an average tweet. Like, you usually get more likes than you do retweets, right?
Yeah.
This one has almost 4 times the amount of retweets to likes, which I think is really interesting.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
677,000 likes to 2.7 million retweets.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Carter's enterprising though. Now he's tagging Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Fallon, Ellen Show.
Yeah, and he has a website, and he sells merch. He sells merch now. You can go to his website. You can go to his website and you can buy Nugs for Carter shirt. I think you can get a coffee mug.
Look like?
It's not good. It's not particularly good. But I'll hand it to him. I'll hand it to him. It is real. It is real. You could buy it. You could order stuff. He did it. But my favorite part of this whole story is how the CEO of T-Mobile jumps in a couple of days later and says, "Hey, Carter, sorry you have AT&T. Switch to T-Mobile, and I'll give you a year of free Wendy's chicken nuggets myself, plus more." Seriously. You want to talk about shots fired? T-Mobile taking shots at AT&T as part of this whole Wendy's fiasco for no reason.
No, that's opportunity cost right there.
He sees it like, I see somebody making moves here. I want in.
I didn't even realize that. I forget that when you take a screenshot, the retweet itself is a screenshot of of the whole conversation that he's having with Wendy's, and you see at the top that it's AT&T is the carrier. I didn't even make that connection until now. Would have been even more ballers if the percentage on the phone's battery was down to like 1%. So like this dude's throwing one last Hail Mary before his
this is all he's
dies.
got. After this, he's done. He doesn't even get to use the internet anymore. Somebody find Carter, because 23% isn't a lot. Somebody find Carter and give him an update on this project. We need to know how he's doing.
Oh, let's start a new one. God bless Carter on that.
God bless Carter. He's an angel. He's just an angel.
Oh man, this is great.
Good for Carter. I'm with him. I support him wholeheartally, and I really wish him all the chicken nuggets in the world.
The real troll move would be for McDonald's to swoop in and be like, "We got you, McNuggets."
What do you want an inferior nugget for? Don't you know how good McNuggets are? Plus our sauces. And then Chick-fil-A gets down. He's like, "No, you want to talk sauces? We've got sauces." That's what Carter's not doing. He's not pitting the fast food restaurants against one another. That's the move.
Oh, then Carter is really enterprising, because then Wendy's can put him on payroll and just tell him to be like, hey, you know what? Because the worst thing that could happen to McDonald's is if they go into undercut and offer him those 18 million nugs, then, or the 18, however many,
for like 17,
nuggets.
15.
Yeah, whatever. But then what if Carter's like, yo, fuck McNuggets, fuck Chick-fil-A, that shit's ass. Like, he has all the power to decide what nugget our generation is going to enjoy. This is all on Carter Wilkerson's hands.
They're going to hire him. They're going to hire him to do PR. It's all of it is a guerrilla marketing tactic. Brilliant maneuver.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I like it. Very, very cool.
That takes us to another topic that is completely unrelated and very strange indeed. This is from Eli. This is from your site. Yo, you have a website, man.
Shout out to Foodbeast.
Okay, we're sourcing here. I like it.
Shout out to Foodbeast and Izzy over at Foodbeast for writing great articles.
Yep.
This
article
article is
about.
By the way, we shout you out
every time we steal your articles and
talk
about it.
Well,
I love it. I love it.
It's the least we could do.
Oh,
this is about whether or not people hate children. And I think when you break it down, at the end of the day, people ultimately do hate children. Children in public places really suck.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true. What's
so
the story,
a restaurant in North Carolina has decided that it's enough. It's enough of these kids. And kids of 5 years of age or under are now banned. And you would think that some people, there are parents that are very passionate. I love my kids. My kids are my life, and I don't ever want to not be able to bring my kids with me wherever I go. Turns out, business is booming. It's actually paying off for them quite well.
The question is, do you go and seek out a restaurant that has that rule, or is it just like, oh, I was coming here anyways. Thanks for the upgrade,
You just took this restaurant and made it way better. Thanks.
Yeah.
I love that. You go to a restaurant that you didn't know, and right outside there's a bunch of kids chained up, and you're like, yo, this restaurant's on the up and up. Fuck these little kids.
There's a restaurant back in the day in Montreal, Dave, you know the restaurant. It's called Casual Sport, which in direct translation is the sports cage. And in the
sports very imaginative
cage,
translation.
Just to paint you a picture, in the basement there was like almost like a separate restaurant just for kids, where you can like color. There was crayons.
There was a little kitty dungeon,
donkey, and stuff like that.
There's a daycare.
But like, it wasn't a daycare. It was
daycare.
just like, okay, the adults are going to eat upstairs where there's sports and beer, and the kids are going to go draw
to the kitty
in
dungeon.
the basement.
That's cool. I like that. Okay.
Right?
Well, these guys, Caruso's in North Carolina, took it one step forward and said, nah, we don't even, honestly, we're not going to spend the money on a kitty dungeon. We're going to just kick them out. So, but what do you think about this? What do you guys think? Have kids ever been so annoying to you that you can't even stand to be in the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel weird about it, though. I feel weird about it.
Do you feel weird about it, or do you feel weird about it for feeling weird about it?
No. Here's where I sit. I sit at my desk right now. I fucking hate. I hate kids. I think they ruin the experience for the paying adults that are there. Let's say you're going to pay top dollar. You're at a place, you're paying $40, $50 a dish, and you know there's a screaming kid next to you, fuck that. You're on a good date. It just ruins the experience. It's bad for the chef. It's bad for the proprietor. It's bad for everyone that's trying to give you an experience. There are places for your kids, and they are Chuck E. Cheese. But on the other end of the coin, where I feel bad about it is if we don't let a child under 5 or even a child under 12 or a child under 18 potentially experience dining at that level, they miss out on something. They miss out on the potential, you know, cuisine, the potential culture. And do we want to keep funneling our kids into Chuck E. Cheese's, and then that's their palate and that's their demeanor, where they just continue to scream and throw coins at machines and smell like socks? Like that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate extreme. I feel so.
They're bad pizza. That's all they have. That's all they eat.
Yeah. So that's where I feel. I feel like fuck kids on one end, but at the end of the day, like I don't want to throw them into this wormhole where they're not allowed at fine dining establishments, because they should see how people could be eating and how people could be enjoying themselves and sitting and behaving. I think it's more on the parents, and then also just understanding your child. So I think you should ban the parents. I think you should just tell them to get the fuck out. And
if the kids are like, yeah. And that brings me to my point, is that I don't want to necessarily prevent certain parents from having that same experience. You know, they don't necessarily get the chance to go out all the time, or maybe they can't find babysitters, whatever it is. If they have the opportunity and they want to go to a restaurant and they want to rock it, I don't want to take that away from them. But at the same time, like, take care of your kid. And if you know that your kid is going to be a huge disruption, then it's time for you to go on. And there's so many parents that don't. There's so many parents that are like, my kid's an angel. Lady, your kid is upside down hanging from the chandelier. His pants are not on anymore. Like, this is a problem. And I feel like that's the big difference here. I think that this is taking the responsibility away from the parents and putting it on the restaurant. The restaurant has to clean up its act, which isn't fair. The restaurant just makes good food, or maybe they don't, but you know, they just make a good experience that people want to enjoy. You can't take that responsibility from the parents.
Sure.
All valid points, and I gotta say, you guys are really making my mind go on both ends of the spectrum here, because I agree with you, Eli. Fuck kids. Sorry, Dave.
No, listen. Like right now, I'm saying the same thing, but I may be singing a different tune soon enough. I'll check back in. I'll let you guys know.
But on the flip side, you're right. Like these days, there are kids that are developing their palates at a lot more of a younger age. Like I know this kid that's eating stinky cheeses and fermented meats, and the kid's like 7, which that would never happen. I didn't eat anything outside of chicken nuggets and French fries till I was like 14 years old. Now the only thing I don't eat is tuna from a can. So I agree with what you're saying. Like, is this going to prevent kids and further push them down this wormhole of eating at Chuck E. Cheese's and just kind of crappy food? Or as a society, are we going to educate the kids not only on developing their palates, but how to be in a restaurant? Because let's face it, how often are you at a restaurant where there's a grown-ass adult that's
acting like a jerk?
Ridiculous.
You know, I didn't even think of that aspect.
It happens all the time.
Is that like one of the main influences in kids learning how to not be jerks?
Their parents?
No, restaurants.
It's very possible. Come on.
It could be. Yeah.
It's very
well, just
possible.
how to behave in public, how to be a real human being. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad when I go out to eat and we're going with like a bunch of food Instagrammers, right? And we're at a dark, nice restaurant. And here they are, like we have
flashes
in the restaurant,
going nuts.
And there's flashes, there's lights that are being diffused by the white tablecloth, and you know, that sucks for the people right next to us that are paying for their meal. So I mean, I think it comes with the balance there. But I mean, I don't necessarily. I think I want to applaud this restaurant if they want to ban kids that are ruining their experience. It's their restaurant. I say run it.
I support them as well. It is their restaurant. They can do whatever they'd like. But it does raise the interesting question of what gets banned next. And
sure.
I think you just said it, Eli. There will almost definitely be at some point in the future a restaurant that does not allow phones, does not allow taking of pictures of food. If it doesn't already exist, I don't know. Maybe it does. It seems to me that it does, right? It's got to be.
It has to, because as one of those people, I sometimes am just like,
I've gotten dirty looks before. I've gotten people being like, "This guy sucks. I don't care about his Snapchat at all. Put it away."
I I went to this really fancy sushi restaurant last week. Very much on the lines of like a Jiro type of sushi restaurant, which if anyone knows, it's you sit at the counter, you can't really ask for anything. It's one price. They feed you, you leave. There's no talking. It's very traditional Japanese in the sense of being polite and whatever. And I was sitting there like hiding the fact that I was taking pictures. I was like, please don't yell at me. Please, yeah. I just want to enjoy your sushi and show people how awesome it looks. But beyond all that, here's a question. This restaurant almost doubled their reservations by banning kids.
People appreciate it.
Right?
That
so
or that
smart business move.
That or, you know, maybe just in North Carolina, they've got a rampant bad behaving child problem. Could be a disaster down there.
I was just about to ask where this is located. You said North Carolina?
Mooresville.
Yeah.
I don't know where Mooresville is, but it seems like 5-year-old kids and younger are they're troublemakers, up to no good.
I feel like there's just an unspoken, I mean, a lot of the restaurants we eat at, there's just this, it must be an unspoken, like, don't bring your wild child to the place, because I haven't necessarily run into that issue recently. And I think we might be running into that issues if you're dining at a Coco's or a Soup Plantation. For example, I love Soup Plantation. If you're not familiar, it's an all-you-can-eat salad bar with soups and breadsticks. So it's not exactly the highest class place you could eat, but you know, it's delicious. The only thing I don't like about it is kids run up to my table like they're off the hinges.
It's a very family-friendly restaurant.
Sure. And so that's, you know, I think you should just understand the type of place you're going to. So I'm actually surprised that these guys doubled in reservations. But I'm not familiar with what kind of food they serve, what kind of restaurant they are to begin with. If they were family friendly and then turned it off, I could see why they would double there. Just because that's so sharp of a decision to make.
I'd like to find the person. Let's contact the person that's like, you know, I used to love eating at Caruso's, but there's just too many kids. I can't anymore. And find that person and see how they're doing today.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. I made that person up. That's too bad. All right. Well, let's see what happens. I'm curious to see where this is going to lead to in terms of banning different things from restaurant. I think, Eli, that point you brought up, that really it could go in that direction. We could see more things being banned from restaurants. I'd be very curious if it leads to that.
Yeah.
Up next is Coachella. Eli, you're going to Coachella, aren't you?
I am. Friday morning, I leave to the desert.
Is it the first time you've gone?
This is the second. This will be the first time I went was last year, actually.
And how did you like it overall?
You know what? I'm actually not a huge live music guy. So I didn't actually have I was gifted the tickets from a friend of mine for a birthday present. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's go. I loved it. I'll be honest with you. I loved it. Experiencing Ellie Goulding high off of Molly is one of the best experiences. As the sun's going down, you turn around, all your friends are in the same mindset. You see a sea of people. There's something real special about it. I'm surprised that we're about to talk about the food at Coachella, but I think that's a good segue. Let's talk about
absolutely.
This is a food-worthy news podcast.
David, you've been to Coachella before, but it hasn't been recently.
I went about 4 years ago, and I had a great time as well. Killer. I've been to a lot of live festivals as well, and like here in Montreal and elsewhere. And I feel like Coachella might have been, if not then close to the best. Just outdoor concert festival experience that I've ever had. Just such good performances and just such a good vibe. And obviously you can't really top the weather. And this is even considering the second part of the second day was a sandstorm, and we were all still killing it with just tons of sand in our eyes, still having a great time. But one thing that I don't think of when I think of that festival is the food by any means. When I was there were like 3 options, you know, like there was like a fry stand, there was like a sandwich, and there was a piece of pizza. And no matter what, you had to wait a good hour in line just to get one of those.
Yeah.
And then, as I mentioned with this, the aforementioned sandstorm was just destroying whatever you wanted to eat anyways. I just don't think of it as being a food festival. But it turns out things have come a long way.
Yeah.
Super long way. Did you? So you mentioned pizza. I think what's been a staple there for a while is this place called Spicy Pie. Did you try that then?
Yeah, that was the one. But I didn't even have it because I didn't want to wait an hour.
Oh yeah, that's the good of what's happened with the explosion of food vendors at Coachella is it's giving you more options. There's more areas with more food, so you're hopefully not waiting, hours to get a slice of pizza. But yeah, it's not conducive. I mean, you're mentioning good weather. We're really spoiled here in Southern California, so now I feel shitty saying that. Oh, it's a bit too hot. It's
really hot. It's not just a bit too hot. It's the middle of the desert.
It's desert. It's Coachella Valley. It's a desert, and it's in probably one of the hottest parts of California. And then your position, like there's some great options on the menu.
Well, this is what Josh was saying that I didn't even know, is that it has turned into such a food-centric festival, and I think that's super cool because food festivals themselves are insanely popular. I just don't necessarily think that a food festival is a music festival is the most conducive to being a food scene. I don't think of like jamming out to my favorite tunes being the time when I'm gonna dive into a sloppy chili cheese fries or something.
For sure, and especially when you're on drugs, like I don't know. Depending on the level of drugs you're doing, your appetite's not super high. So
no, you are.
There. Well, it really depends. But sometimes I'm just in it for satiation at that point. Like, what am I gonna? What's the shortest line? What's the quickest thing to eat?
Because I have to. Because it's important that I do this.
Yeah,
but,
you remember. That's it.
But like, just to touch on what both of you are saying. You're in the middle of the desert, in arguably the hottest point of Southern California. Plus, you're probably intoxicated because you're at a music festival. There are thousands of people around you. Do you really want to be like digging into a butter chicken poutine? Do you? No, you don't. You want to be like
thick.
Yeah, although listen, I'm not taking away the fact that they've come a long way in terms of what food is being presented at the festival. Like there's waffles on a stick, and there's like a Peruvian burrito, and all these things that sound amazing, incredibly delicious. But at what point are you like huddling over to block it from being engulfed by sand? Or at what point are you like getting a waffle cone of ice cream and like 5 seconds later it's melting because it's 112 degrees outside? You know what
I'm a horribly clumsy person. I'm 100% smashing that waffle into somebody's the back of someone's shirt or into their chest. Like it's definitely I'm not finishing it is what I'm getting at. 100% not finishing it.
Let's throw some balance in there. Dave, I think you went on there. I don't think every single year, just so some of your listeners aren't like, look, it's not always a sandstorm. It's not always the Sahara
No, in fact,
Desert.
when I was there, I think it was the first time there ever had been a sandstorm. And like people were going crazy. They're like, oh, Red Hot Chili Peppers in the middle of a sandstorm. Like they kept going. They didn't stop their set. I was like, yeah, I was there, man, one time ever. Yeah. But if you are in the middle of the desert and a sandstorm ruins your ice cream cone, you're going to be pretty sad.
Sure. On the positive end, there's some great stuff that is conducive to a festival. So I am happy that it isn't just hot dogs and burgers, and they are treating their customer with a bit more respect. Like this Peruvian burrito thing, like that sounds amazing.
It looks amazing too. As I know, not a lot of people could see this.
Please describe.
Are you looking at it, Josh?
Yeah. Go.
Let's do it really slow. Okay. It's jammed with a quinoa rice, tomato sambal, avocados, a fried egg, and you could pick. You want chicken, steak, or some portobello mushrooms.
40s? See, I know that you would do the same thing I would do. You would get all of those things. You're getting an egg, chicken, steak,
you get all
portobello
three
mushrooms.
You get all three.
And you have to ask you have to ask the question, and you've always got a big grin on your face when you're like, "And how much for all three?"
And then you throw your MasterCard at them and they decline it.
And they're like, sir, we don't accept credit cards here. It's the middle of the desert. What do you think we have terminals? Like, oh. No, it's cash only.
Cash or check. No, but seriously, and a burrito is pretty good, by the way, for a festival, specifically for a festival like this, because, you know, if you're eating a burrito and the off chance that a storm does start, you have the tortilla blocking the insides of that burrito from sand. So burritos, great festivals.
I don't know about this raclette cheese topped tater tots. Now that's a little
that's extreme.
That's one thing I don't want to see in the heat.
Raclette is like such a it's like an experience, right? You have to have like your little flame, your little torch with your little shovel that's got your cheese in it, and you have your bread and your meats, and you fry your meats, and like it's a whole experience, right? I don't want to do that at a music festival.
Yeah, no. But these waffles on a stick, I mean, that sounds pretty portable. It
doesn't sound that bad, actually.
It's as portable as it gets. Like, I'm not going to eat waffles with a fork and knife at the festival, but you put it on a stick and top it with Lucky Charms.
And now you're talking.
I might be game. I might get into a good Instagram picture with, someone out there. You never know.
Yeah, that looks actually pretty good. I'm down with that one. But, I mean...
What else do they have? Anything else that seems horribly inappropriate? So also horribly inappropriate for I don't know, horribly inappropriate. Just not. I can't imagine there's going to be many takers for those things.
Yeah, probably
not. After ice cream.
I was there. I was dying. I was dying of heat, and I was hungry, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I could make it the rest of the day. And I turned the corner, and there was a stand with a guy that was just selling an entire half of a watermelon with a spoon.
Ooh.
He was like, go in. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go in. I might even get the whole melon. Like, I don't care. And it really was life-saving. And when I think of a live festival, I think of that, like the hydration, the sustenance. I don't think of like, I'm there for the music and that experience. I don't think of it as like, I'm going to really go on a culinary expedition here and try and really expand my palate.
Yeah. What's crazy is how huge of a business it's become at these festivals, the food portion. I mean, there's a, forgive me because I don't know the name, but there's a popsicle vendor that has these little push carts, and they're throughout the festival now. And it's one company. It's a family-owned company. They can make upwards of $250,000 to $500,000 selling popsicles over the three weekend tour. So Coachella spans 2 weekends, and then they have Stagecoach, which is a country festival. And those 3 days with those hundreds of thousands of people, and you tap into popsicles being the satiating thing that you're talking about, Dave, it's $250,000 to $500,000 revenue potential there. Yeah. It's a really hard thing to get into Coachella on the food. Yeah. Like, they're doing a really good job. That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. Yeah, we can't just tomorrow create a booth. I mean, they're doing their research on, who's going to be there, who's already making waves, and who would we want. Like, so they curate the experience better and better every year. And that's why you have really newsworthy people like Bad Mash, and you have
shout out to your boys over at After's Ice Cream. They've been going there for a few years at this point, I think, right?
Yeah, you have After's Ice Cream. Now they have a concept called Pig Pen Delicacy, which is a burger joint, but heavy focused on the pig, obviously the bacon. You have Fritzy Coop. They're co-owners in this waffle joint, the Sweet Comb Comforts. Sweet Comforts is a cute alliteration.
Adorable.
Where they're doing the waffles on a stick. So it's a money making opportunity.
Well, because people are trapped there. They have no options. Mm-hmm. They can't go anywhere else, and you can't bring anything in. You can't pack a lunch and go to Coachella. They're taking your lunch and they're throwing it in the garbage.
No brown baggers.
Nope. And yeah, I think it's wild. So as much fun as we make, there is a really cool experience where if you just want to get away from the music for a bit, you can go sit. They have a really cool beer garden area. And
that's cool. They didn't have that when I was there. It was really like finding a place to get comfortable was nearly impossible. And I imagine that's something that they had to improve upon.
Sure. Especially as they extended the festival, made it longer, provided the second weekend. Yeah, there has to be a certain level of comfort, and with comfort comes that food. So overall, as cynical as we started out on it, I still think it's better than not that they have dope food.
Yeah, absolutely, and clearly they're killing it. You could see it's a successful festival. Well, please do us a favor, Eli, and let us know the best things you've had when you go. Okay.
I will.
Also follow Eli on social medias. It's Book of Eli with an E at the end of it.
And don't forget the @ sign. Really important. He needed that @ sign.
You won't find me.
You won't find him otherwise.
But I'm sure we'll be able to keep up with all your festivities, and obviously follow Foodbeast account for your daily deliciousness, because that happens every single day.
Yes.
And
that brings us to our dumb food item of the day. Is this really dumb though? This is one restaurant that's doing this right now, but there are bar that's doing this right now. There are other bars that do this from time to time. This is an alcoholic Capri Sun.
Yep.
This is an alcoholic beverage that is a throwback to your childhood. It comes in a sack with a straw, and it's all your favorite fruit punch flavors, but with liquor. It looks
like a Capri Sun, but oversized, and it can house anything. So basically what it is if you're getting one of those fancy, trendy, organic, vegan, insert trendy food name here, protein powder from your local whatever, and you empty it, and then you fill it with liquid, that's what this is. That's why I think it's stupid. I'm actually quite upset about it.
Well, and it's not even a real pouch. It's a Ziploc bag. So I've had this. I haven't had it at this restaurant, but I had one in Dallas, and they called it an adult Capri Sun there. I ordered it. There's nothing to harp on the drink. It's a delicious tasting drink, and they had a series of them. But all they do is take a Ziploc bag and then they zip tie it again at the one I went to. So they do puncture it, but they zip tie the whole thing.
So you don't spill it.
You don't spill it. It's a very patronizing drink.
It's patronizing. We used to call those sip sacks, by the way.
Well, what they're doing is and see, it's a sip sack, and the whole point of Capri Sun is that you gotta shank the sack. If you don't shank the sack, then what's it worth? Nothing, in my opinion.
What's an unshanked sack?
An unshanked sack. Listen, I think that there are companies, products, brands that do very well harping on our nostalgia, and I'm a huge fan of what is retro, and a Capri Sun is very retro, even though it is still sold to this day in grocery stores. I don't normally drink it, so it's not something that I regularly provide myself, an experience I provide myself with. So I like the idea on paper. I think that's what it comes down to. I like it on paper.
Wait, there's more to this than just being an overgrown alcoholic Capri Sun. There's glowing LED lights that are being put into the drink to make it more like, I guess, adult club-like.
I feel like I actually just watched Eli get like physically angrier.
Yeah, I'm getting ill just thinking about this. I just think like if I see another adult across the way from me at a cocktail bar drinking something out of a Capri Sun looking couch that is ziplocked up and there's a glowing ice cube in it, go swallow the whole ice cube because it's not edible. It's not good. When I first saw the headline, I was afraid that this was actually a product that Capri Sun was going to put out, and that was going to scare the shit out of me, because if it gains ubiquity and gains traction as this product that you can buy and sip, you ruin my public drinking experience, because I normally have to, because it's illegal. Is it legal in Canada to drink in the streets?
I mean, it's frowned upon, but as long as you got a paper bag, like they don't really care.
Really? That's amazing. Yeah. Here, it's not only frowned upon, it's illegal. So you cannot drink in the States.
Yeah.
And so, but I normally will flask up my Capri Sun. So I'll poke the hole a bit bigger, pour a bit of vodka in there. Now I can walk anywhere I want. My Disneyland
That's
trips,
really cool.
So I
you
was
don't want
afraid
them to cramp your style.
No, man.
That's why you're upset about this.
Yeah, I'm on some
my public
petty
intoxication is very important, and if they take that away from me, we've got a problem.
I'm a petty guy, and that will piss me off.
Yo, I'm just throwing this out there. Would love to get wasted by drinking Capri Suns at Disneyland with you. Put that on the pocket.
Did you get your Disneyland pass yet?
No, not yet.
Come on,
I'm
Josh.
so envious right now that I'm on the other side of the world. Like, fuck you guys. I really want to go get wasted at Disneyland with you.
I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that this, although
stupid or smart
in concept, might be a bit smart. In practice, it's pretty.
They might be ruining it for the rest of us. And they're definitely crushing. Like No Shank Sack, I'm not interested. I think that Capri Sun, it's perfect the way it is. Don't fix what's not broken.
And primarily, they're cramping my style, cramping Elie Ayrouth style, cramping it. That's why this should be taken off the market.
Yeah. Let the man drink in public, for fuck's sakes.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the Menu Podcast. Boy, did I have a fun time with you guys.
Illusion. Yeah, Eli, thanks for being a guest, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun.
You are welcome anytime. Once again, if you haven't already done so, friends, follow at Book of Eli on all the things, at Foodbeast on all the things.
Yes.
Make sure to go to foodbeast.com for all sorts of food news. They make a great website over there that you should check out. Thanks to all of our listeners. As always, you can watch this podcast live on twitch.tv/liquorsauce. We upload the video version to youtube.com/TheJoshElkin. And of course, you could listen with your ear holes on soundcloud.com/The Menu Podcast. And now that I've said so many different things that you need to do, we're going to let you go so that you start doing them because you have homework now.